Hey y'all! Okay, so I'm going out. So this is gonna be a little bit tight today, but I didn't want to miss a day reading. I wanted to read. So let's get the show on the road. It feels so light out to be doing a bedtime book. Okay, we're coming right down to the end of The Alchemist. And once we finish the book, I'm going to try and make a list of like main takeaways from the book. So if you want to comment what you think were sort of the gems of this book, the treasure, if you will, feel free to add to the list. Hey, Michelle. Okay, so where we left off was Santiago had just succeeded in proving himself as a master alchemist by transforming himself into the wind with something like that. Anyway, it convinced the chieftains and they, oh my gosh, my hair. Okay, stop. Okay. Convinced the chieftains and they are escorting Santiago and the alchemist onward on their journey, and I get the impression they're like basically there. Okay. They rode for the entire day. Toward the end of the afternoon, they came upon a Coptic monastery. The alchemist dismounted and told the escorts they could return to the camp. "From here on, you will be alone," the alchemist said. "You are only 3 hours from the pyramids." "Thank you," the boy said. "You taught me the language of the world." "I only invoked what you already knew." The alchemist knocked on the gate of the monastery. A monk dressed in black came to the gate. They spoke for a few minutes in the Coptic tongue, and the alchemist bade the boy enter. "I asked him to let me use the kitchen for a while," the alchemist smiled. They went to the kitchen at the back of the monastery. The alchemist lighted the fire, and the monk brought him some lead, which the alchemist placed in an iron pan. When the lead had become liquid, the alchemist took from his pouch the strange yellow egg. He scraped from it a sliver as thin as a hair, wrapped it in wax, and added it to the pan in which the lead had melted. The mixture took on a reddish color, almost the color of blood. The alchemist removed the pan from the fire and set it aside to cool. As he did so, he talked with the monk about the tribal wars. "I think they're going to last for a long time," said the monk. The monk was irritated. The caravan had been stopped at Giza for some time, waiting for the wars to end. "But God's will be done," the monk said. "Exactly," answered the alchemist. When the pan had cooled, I'm sorry, I feel like I made that whole exchange seem like the monk was shallow and the alchemist was not buying it. I think you could just as easily be the monk is actually resigned and the alchemist is in agreement. Anyway, when the pan had cooled, the monk and the boy looked at it dazzled. The lead had dried into the shape of the pan, but it was no longer lead, it was gold. "Will I learn to do that someday?" the boy asked. "This was my personal legend, not yours," the alchemist answered. "But I wanted to show you that it was possible." They returned to the gates of the monastery. There, the alchemist separated the disc into 4 parts. I guess the disc of gold. "This is for you," he said, holding one of the parts out to the monk. "It's for your generosity to pilgrims." "But this payment goes well beyond my generosity," the monk responded. "Don't say that again. Life might be listening and give you less next time." The alchemist turned to the boy. "This is for you, to make up for what you gave to the general." The boy was about to say that it was much more than he'd given to the general, but he kept quiet because he had heard what the alchemist had said to the monk. "And this is for me," said the alchemist, keeping one of the parts, "because I have to return to the desert where the tribal wars are." He took the 4th part and handed it to the monk. This is for the boy, if he ever needs it." "But I'm going in search of my treasure," the boy said. "I'm very close to it now." "I'm certain you'll find it," the alchemist said. "Then why this?" "Because you've already lost your savings twice. Once to a thief and once to the general. I am an old superstitious Arab, and I believe in our proverbs. There's one that says, 'Everything that happens once can never happen again, but everything that happens twice will surely happen a third time.'" And they mounted their horses. "I want to tell you a story about dreams," said the alchemist. The boy brought his horse closer. "In ancient Rome, at the time of Emperor Tiberius, there lived a good man who had 2 sons. One was in the military and had been sent to the most distant regions of the empire. The other son was a poet and delighted all of Rome with his beautiful verses." I was thinking about Adrian's story about the Caesar with the 2 sons. One night, the father had a dream. An angel appeared to him and told him that the words of one of his sons would be learned and repeated throughout the world for all generations to come. The father woke from his dream grateful and crying because life was generous and had revealed to him something any father would be proud to know. Shortly thereafter, the father died as he tried to save a child who was about to be crushed by the wheels of a chariot. Since he had lived his entire life in a manner that was correct and fair, he went directly to heaven, where he met the angel that had appeared to him in his dream. "You were always a good man," the angel said to him. "You lived your life in a loving way and died with dignity. I can now grant you any wish you desire." "Life was good to me," the man said. "When you appeared in my dream, I felt that all my efforts had been rewarded, because my son's poems will be read by men for generations to come. I don't want anything for myself, but any father would be proud of the fame achieved by one he had cared for as a child and educated as he grew up. Sometime in the distant future, I would like to see my son's words." The angel touched the man's shoulder, and they were both projected far into the future. They were in an immense setting, surrounded by thousands of people speaking a strange language. The man wept with happiness. "I knew my son's poems were immortal," he said to the angel through his tears. "Can you please tell me which of my son's poems these people are repeating?" The angel came closer to the man and with tenderness led him to a bench nearby where they sat down. "The verses of your son, who was the poet, were very popular in Rome," the angel said. "Everyone loved them and enjoyed them. But when the reign of Tiberius ended, his poems were forgotten. The words you are hearing now are those of your son in the military." The man looked at the angel in surprise. "Your son went to serve at a distant place and became a centurion. He was just and good. One afternoon, one of his servants fell ill, and it appeared that he would die. Your son had heard of a rabbi who was able to cure illnesses, and he rode out for days and days in search of this man. Along the way, he learned that the man he was seeking was the Son of God. He met others who had been cured by him, and they instructed your son in the man's teachings, and so, despite the fact that he was a Roman centurion, he converted to their faith. Shortly thereafter, he reached the place where the man he was looking for was visiting. He told the man that one of his servants was gravely ill, and the rabbi made ready to go to his house with him. But the centurion was a man of faith, and looking into the eyes of the rabbi, he knew that he was surely in the presence of the Son of God. And this is what your son said," the angel told the man. "These are the words he said to the rabbi at that point, and they have never been forgotten. 'My Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak the word, and my servant will be healed.'" The alchemist said, "No matter what he does, every person on earth plays a central role in the history of the world. and normally he doesn't know it. The boy smiled. He had never imagined that questions about life would be of such importance to a shepherd. "Goodbye," said the alchemist. "Goodbye," said the boy. This book really reminds me of my favorite book, which I might read to you someday. But a lot of the lines are very reminiscent, and he never could have realized that it was a matter of such great significance. That line is very reminiscent of who would have thought that whether or not somewhere a sheep we have never seen has eaten a rose could be a matter of such great significance, is a line from my favorite book. Let's see. We are so close to the end, guys. I wonder if we can finish it tonight. I kind of want to save it. Today's Friday. Oh, I don't know when we're going to read again. What time is it? I kind of want to save it. All that's left is one more little chunk, and then an epilogue, and then a prologue. Next time will be the last time for The Alchemist. Stay tuned if you want to know when it's going to be. It'll either be Monday or sometime sooner.